Hi, I'm Ryan with Ryonet and SilkScreeningSupplies.com. I'm here with my good friend and industry mentor, Riley Hopkins. Riley Hopkins, you've been in the industry for how long now?
About 35 years, oddly enough.
So I've learned quite a bit from this guy, and we just wanted to talk about some of the stories I've heard with him and how the press kind of came about to be. Did you actually start screen printing?
Well, I had. I mean, I was familiar with it because I was an art director and designer. And when a client was referred to my design firm in San Francisco, he wanted me to design a press that would print 4 colors wet on shirts. And I, hand cut ruby lith and hand positioned frames for getting multicolored prints, but had never attempted something that was actually a machine.
So at that time in the industry, what other presses were available?
Vastex had a press, and there was a company called Richardson back east that had a press. Both of those were quite a bit different design than mine. And of course, I don't like to knock people's designs off, so I always, try and create my own wave to surf on.
So that basically you designed a press because somebody asked you to.
Yeah, and it was interesting. I made about a dozen of these presses because there's no way the guy could afford my design time for one press. And I thought I was going to have them forever. And they were actually gone the first week, with people just coming up to my shop with money in hand because they'd heard about this new press. And that was it. We were off to the races.
So you were out of the industry at all. Somebody just asked you to make presses, and you actually did all the welding, cutting, and everything yourself on those first presses?
Well, I had a race car shop. I always designed and built my own race cars, so that wasn't a giant leap of faith. It's always something I've done and enjoy. So the hard part was actually covering all the variables that screen printing has. I was used to litho, where it's ground cast iron that's bolted to the floor. And the only thing you have to be concerned about is the humidity in the paper, and that's it. Screen printing, you've got every variable known to man that you have to accommodate and allow for and conquer. So it's a much tougher thing to design and build than something for litho.
The first Riley Hopkins press, that was built what year?
That was about 72, I guess. And it was made out of 1-inch square tubing that was hand filed to fit in the gate. But basically the geometry is essentially the same, and it's stayed the same. And I had a lot of people tell me that what I should do is use planned obsolescence and make sure that people had to buy a new press every 3 years with a new model. And I'd had that done to me before, and I didn't really like it. So I decided to go the other way and make sure that I didn't obsolete anybody's presses.
So those first, you said you built 6 of them?
12.
12 of them. How did things go from there? Where did you actually just go to the major manufacturing and start selling throughout the country and the world, really?
Well, I'll chalk it up to my first photograph that we used, and of course that base rusted out within about 3 years. But I took this press on my race car transporter out to the Pacific Ocean at the head of San Francisco, and threw it out in the waves with the surf coming in. Got this really great art shot, and of course that was the start of selling these things. For some reason, there was always a demand for my equipment. California was a hot market, and my shop was in San Francisco and all that sort of thing. But for some reason, our stuff worked and was priced competitively, and no shipping from the East Coast or any of that sort of thing. There was a friend who tried to talk me into going to the SGI show in New Orleans, and he wanted me to give him a press, and of course I was radically opposed to that because I need to get paid for everything that goes out the door, sort of thing. So he bought the press himself, paid cash for it, took it to the show. And I was racing for BMW on the East Coast for about a month, which I was really ecstatic about. And I got a phone call from the shop saying that this guy had just sold 38 4-color presses at the show. So I had to change my plans, and we were in production from there on out. I had about 4 shops in San Francisco. Finally, for some reason, located in Berkeley, Had about 60 people there, had our own powder coating in-house, had our own electrical division. It was wall to wall.
38 presses in one show.
Yeah.
Shows have changed a little bit throughout the years.
Yeah, no kidding. Then people weren't looking for the last minute discount. And frankly, I don't know why people are looking for a discount at a trade show when it costs everybody at least 10 grand to get something into the show and out of the show after it's over. So to me, a discount is just it's ridiculous.
So 30 plus years, you have presses that are still in use at that time.
Yep.
And the way the presses are built, they're really built to last a lifetime.
Exactly.
I learned on a press, I think in high school, it was a Hopkins press. Mm-hmm. And at that time, that wasn't a new press. So that was 10 years ago. And then probably using a 10-year-old press. And I've heard stories and stories on stories of people doing the same type of thing.
Well, that was part of the deal. And I had an opportunity to build things in a flexible way that was, a real good money-making way. But I also really got a pretty good idea, too, that if I didn't build this better than I should and offer more quality than you're paying for, I had the potential for harming people, and I was not going to create any kind of a pyramid of guilt by doing something incorrectly for people. So this, actually, the way I build all this stuff is my own personal insurance policy, because I don't have to worry about this stuff ever. And if there's a problem, we get to ride in with a white hat and everybody's happy because it's more of an ad than anything else. It doesn't happen that often, so it's no big deal to fix it.
Because your presses are always, very affordable, and probably, some of the best presses in the industry, but you don't really sacrifice the quality of it.
No. Well, I've just been kind of a knucklehead about that. I just, these things should all be about $1,000 more than what they are. But I've chosen to make them affordable for people so that they can get the absolute best piece of gear they can possibly get.
Now, you mentioned racing, so you were a race car driver for a while. And I kind of seen a lot of similarities in the press where it's lightweight, it moves fast, it's it performs well.
Yep. Well, I also have a background in aircraft as well, so a lot of my design points are just based on those two things, which is to make them lightweight but strong enough to where they don't break and kill you.
Being in the industry for 35 years, you've seen ups and downs in the economy before. Right now, we're in a pretty slow economy, and some people are feeling down on the screen print side of things. Where do you see the industry going as far as how it's affected with the economy right now?
Well, there's a couple of philosophical changes that are being brought on by the economy. 10 years ago, when I started this business with these new machines, I chose to treat it like a cash business, so that I got a deposit when the machine was ordered, and I got paid for it before it went out the door. Whereas before, in my previous company, I'd have $600,000–700,000 worth of receivables all the time, and we were always chasing money. So what's actually happened, a lot of my colleagues in the industry have converted from having accounts receivables to cash because it costs too much money to chase the money, and you can't take a risk anymore. Whether somebody says, yeah, I'm going to buy the press and I'll pay you in 30 days, and then suddenly they're out of business.
Kind of the similar lesson like screen printers that are using your press can learn.
Exactly, because first of all, yes, you have to do good work. Yes, you have to have customer service, but first and foremost, you have to get paid, period.
As far as the screen printing industry in this recession, there's recessions in the 80s and things like that, which you went through. But screen printers fairly, did from what I've heard. I was a little kid at the time, but they've done really well throughout recessions. Are you kind of seeing the same thing throughout this, recession?
Well, yeah, because first of all, it's kind of the Chicken Little theory. I mean, you can be really panicked about it, or you can take advantage of the situation. First and foremost, having a small, highly adaptable print system that doesn't cost a lot of money to test fly a new idea, it puts you in a real advantageous position. Somebody that's got 30 automatics and that sort of overhead is not able to try new things very easily. So in this case, as an artist and a designer and so on, any blank shirt, piece of paper, piece of metal, anything is fair game for a new idea. So I always like to try new stuff anyway, just as a matter of course. And a small shop really has the ability to do that.